Hi, welcome to Nuggets with Naveen, a show to showcase innovative people, their innovations, and the impact it creates. It's going to inspire many. Today we have Dr. Jagdish Chaturvedi. He is an ENT surgeon, he is a practitioner, and calls himself a serial innovator. Welcome, Dr. Jagdish Chaturvedi. Hi, Dr. Jagdish. It's a cool thing to say that you're a serial innovator. Can we hear about your innovations?
Sure. Over the last 6 years, I've been involved in about 18 medical device inventions. About 10 of them have done reasonably well in terms of how far they could have reached. Others have failed and become lessons for me to learn. Some of the devices that I have worked on, one of them is a low-cost ENT video endoscopy device. Their nasal foreign body device. There is a low-cost balloon sinuplasty device. Devices that draw fluids out of the lungs that when they are collected there or from the abdominal cavity. Devices that allow better or accurate insertion of feeding tubes. Devices that reduce risk of pneumonia when patients are on ventilator. Liver biopsy devices. Infant resuscitative devices. All of these is what I've been involved in.
Oh wow, looks like there's a lot between the 2 years.
Sure.
So what impact has these kind of innovations created?
In terms of impact to patients, the first device that I developed, the ear, nose, throat video endoscopy device, after it was licensed out to a design firm called Icarus and from there to Medtronic, health workers have used this device to screen over 200,000 patients, and all those patients have benefited with on the doorstep care and have got treatment for many ENT diseases. The other device, which is a low-cost balloon sinuplasty device, which we just launched 2 months back, called SinoCare, is a device designed to bring the inpatient or operation theater-based sinusitis treatment into the outpatient setting at low-cost, affordable prices with added safety. So I think the benefits are both to patients but also to doctors who get now new procedures and are able to provide affordable care and an impact to the healthcare community as a whole.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's a transformation, and I think there is conscious effort towards moving from the inpatient to outpatient. That's a transformation.
Absolutely.
Congratulations for that kind of an impact that what you're creating.
Thank you.
How much of your ENT practice is being useful for innovation, and how much of innovation is required for a practitioner?
Well, I think that's a great question, and today I can't even differentiate one from the other. But I feel for a doctor to be an innovator, it's almost like the body and the soul. Because when you understand the problems in the healthcare community, you very well know what the solutions could be. And when you know the solution, you know how it can be applied into the healthcare space. So I think it's a dual role that every doctor should play, because they understand the clinical problems and challenges as a first-hand experience and know exactly how they can solve it. So I think it's absolutely critical for a doctor to be an innovator. Even though I started off as a doctor practicing 40 to 50% of my time, inventing the other 50%. Now when I use my own solutions and technologies on patients, I don't know if I'm inventing or practicing.
You've chosen to learn about biodesign from Stanford. Tell us more about it.
Absolutely. I think I learned the importance of that the hard way. I initially tried to form a startup company with my first device, which was the ENT screening device, and I failed miserably, but had a lot of learnings. And the one realization I had is I have to learn the process the right way. And the government at that point of time had this program called Stanford India Biodesign, and Stanford follows this biodesign process as a systematic way to understand needs, and from the needs derive what solutions work, while keeping in mind business models, stakeholders, all in the beginning. A simple analogy is, instead of when you want to solve a jigsaw puzzle, it's like seeing the whole picture first before assembling the pieces together, rather than putting one piece at a time and figuring out when you can complete the picture. So I think that was very, very crucial for me. And my approach of working with teams of engineers and designers before we start inventing, I think has changed the way I've become a serial innovator. and has really put my inventions into perspective. So I now focus more on learning than on earning, and try and get the products as far as possible by working with teams.
Okay, that's fantastic. I think learning while you're earning is also the other next step, I think, which is what you are probably already doing. And by this term earning, it's so important for innovations to reach that sustainability. And I believe entrepreneurship is at that stage which brings in sustainability to innovation.
Absolutely.
Have any of your innovations come to that stage where it's become a startup, living its own life?
4 products that I've worked on have turned into startup companies, and they've gained significant funding, and some of them are very close to being launched in the market. But what you said is very true. I think while developing a product, if the entire perspective is taken into place, such as business models and sustainability, really upfront, I think then it really shows by interest of investors, by the quality of the team, and the speed at which the product is being developed. For example, a low-cost liver biopsy device that I developed with my colleagues during the Stanford India Biodesign Fellowship. It's now a startup company called Indio Labs in Whitefield in Bangalore. It comes under Omia Healthcare. And I think they've done massive progress, raised capital, and now there's this product that is, simple, easy to use, at the same time complex, very close to hitting the market, maybe in the next couple of quarters. So that's a good example of how a product moves, as a startup company from the inventor's bench.
Oh, so looks like you're not just a serial innovator, along with that you're also a serial entrepreneur now. And especially if these innovations are becoming startups and going to live its own life.
And as an ENT surgeon, I call myself a serial e-entrepreneur.
Oh, fantastic. That's a wonderful way to put it. What would be 3 tips that you want to give to aspiring innovators in the sector of healthcare?
3 simple tips would be: understand problem first, invent later; create team first, invent later; then stick with the team passionately till it gets from the idea to market. I think just those 3 things, you're pretty much there.
Oh, that's brilliant. And it reminds me of a wonderful song by Raj Kapoor's movie. Sajan re jhoot mat bolo, खुदा के पास जाना है, न हाथी है न घोड़ा है, वहाँ पैदल ही जाना है. In that song, there is a stanza which says, लड़प्पन खेल में खोया, जवानी नींद भर सोया, बुढ़ापा देख कर रोया, यही हिस्सा पुराना है. So, why am I recalling this song is that in the youth, most of them just wail their time away. But you've chosen a very different journey. And you've chosen to innovate, you've chosen to learn, you've chosen to create an impact. And your innovations are fantastic. Well, you've been a serial innovator, you've gone one step further, you've written a book. Can you speak about your book, Inventing Medical Devices, and the impact that it has created?
Sure. Yeah, so I wrote this book, Inventing Medical Devices, a perspective from India based on the suggestion given by my guru, Dr. Naveen. He's a senior ENT surgeon. Mainly to give 3 key things. One is this book addresses mindset of innovations for doctors. A lot of doctors still believe that innovation is not their responsibility, even though I feel that the person who understands the challenges the most should definitely be involved in the solution making process. So this book addresses mindset. The second thing this book addresses is process. I think a lot of people in India do not know how to invent or take an idea to an actual product and into the market. This actually gives a step-by-step, black and white, process laid out for them on how this can be done in India between doctors and engineers working in teams. I think the third most important thing in this book are the resources. When I was starting off inventing, I did not know how much a lawyer charges. I did not know how long does it take to develop. This book, I just put everything down. I put everything from licensing terms, deals, lawyer quotes, prices, vendor prices, time expectations, overall budget expectations, sources for getting grant funding, venture capital funding, and all of that in a humorous form with caricatures, just so that anybody who wants to venture into the space now has the right mindset, a process to follow, and all the resources that they need, so that they could invent and improve healthcare for our country.
That's a great contribution, Jagdish. I think while you were sharing this, you also said it's put in humorous form and with many caricatures and so on. I know you're being an extraordinary person, and the other extras that you have is that you are a stand-up comedian. And today we will want to put you on test. And can you do a sit-up comedy?
Yeah, I would say that a stand-up comic when sits down is called a sitcom.
Okay.
But if laughter is the best medicine, I think it should be driven by doctors. And that's why I think doctors should be sharing this medicine free of cost. And that's why I try and do whatever stand-up comedy that I can. Most of the comedy comes out of failures. And I believe failures are not an outcome. I think failure is a step and success is an outcome. So I try and convert my failures into funny incidences and stories, and whatever I talk about are usually mess-ups that I do. I also have an online video series called The Mugga of Small Things, where I mess up small things and I made humors out of it. But if I could share a small incident that I had with a patient once, is looking at how technology affects doctor-patient relationships. With a lot of these online digital platforms, I once had a patient, her name was Shweta, and I had an appointment with her at 5 o'clock, and she said that I cannot make it at 5, can we push the appointment to 5:30? And I said fine, I replied to her. And about 2 minutes later, I get 7 hearts, 2 smileys, and says sure doctor with a wink. And I didn't understand what that meant till I went and saw my message, which was auto-corrected to sure sweetheart, rather than Shweta.
Wow.
But so stuff like this that happens in my life, I share it to make people laugh.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But a disclaimer, nothing happened between us. Yeah. I was in relationship at that point of time with a girl. Now I'm just her husband.
Okay, so fantastic. I really liked the way you said. Wailing away your time is ordinary. Healing the world with your time is extraordinary. And you are a perfect match to this Zo quote. I see you as that Zo, and I wish you to be a little extra, continue to be a little extra, and create a great impact and be an inspiration to many aspiring innovators. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here and be given the opportunity to share my work. I really appreciate it, and very, very privileged to be a part of this show. Thank you.